Statements, none. Papers have been laid. Motion.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I beg to move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Motion is seconded by the Deputy Prime Minister. The question is that all the business on today's order paper, be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statements by ministers, none. Public bill, first reading.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the appropriation 2025-2026 bill number 14 of 2025 be read the first time.
Yes, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister seconding the motion.
Public bill, second reading.
Honourable members, as has been the practice, I am allowing members of the press to come inside the chamber to take photographs for a maximum of 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Honourable Prime Minister, the floor is now yours.
Madam Speaker, I move that the Appropriation Bill 2025-2026, number 14 of 2025, be read the second time. Madam Speaker, it is with a sense of great responsibility and humility that I stand to present the first budget of this government to the House. Behind the facade mounted by the unethical and incompetent previous government lie a shredded social fabric, perilous governance, cross-cutting institutional failures, a decaying democracy, public finances in a shambles, and an economy in dire straits. Madam Speaker, they left our country with an unsustainable public sector debt of 642 billion rupees, representing 90% of GDP, a budget deficit of 9.8% of GDP, 180 billion rupees from reckless printing of money with devastating consequences on inflation and the exchange rate of the rupee, and a huge trade deficit of 203.7 billion rupees, representing 29.4% of GDP. An unimaginable scenario. It's a nightmare scenario that beggars belief. Really, when I see that, I remember the slogan, "Tout est possible ensemble avec eux." It reminds me of Murphy's Law. What won't happen will happen. As a result, Madam Speaker, debt servicing alone is consuming 21.8 billion rupees of the budget. Just the debt servicing. This is money that could have been used for funding essential development expenditure like education, health, social security, and others. Clearly, the situation we have inherited is unsustainable. Furthermore, international pressures are mounting due to tariff and trade wars, resulting in heightened uncertainty, high volatility, and unpredictability. If we do not change course, there is real risk of a sovereign rating downgrade, which would further worsen our situation and push the country further, deeper into crisis. There is thus an urgent need for a fundamental reappraisal of our custom way of doing things. It is in the best interest of the population and businesses that we take bold measures now so that we can build a more resilient economy and society for all. For far too long, Madam Speaker, we have postponed facing up to fundamental changes and making fundamental choices. We have chosen what is right for our country. There is no other option. We must break the mold to stop the rot now. The choices we make today will shape the better future we deserve or doom us adrift aimlessly, never seizing the chance to create real change. As a responsible government, our commitment is to bring down the budget deficit, the borrowing requirement, and debt to sustainable levels within the next 3 years. Let me make it clear, Madam Speaker, that as we pursue these goals, we will balance fiscal consolidation with the need to shore up investment and economic growth, protect the most vulnerable, and address emerging challenges like demographic transition, climate change, and disruptive technology such as artificial intelligence and blockchain. Our approach will be one of fiscal responsibility with empathy and compassion. And so today we choose the path from abyss to prosperity, rebuilding the bridge to the future. To steer our country forward towards that goal, Budget 2025-2026 sets out a comprehensive plan of actions and policies resting on 3 pillars: economic renewal, a new social order, and fiscal consolidation. We will realize these objectives while putting people at the center of all our decisions. Our topmost priority is and will always remain the well-being of the population. Madam Speaker, before announcing our measures and policies, I would like to stress that I'm presenting a strategic budget for rebuilding our country's future. The budget documents you will see feature at Annex 1 and at the Annex with additional measures and policies, and each minister will provide further details on policies that are within their areas of responsibility. Madam Speaker, I will now speak on our strategy for economic renewal. We are shifting the economic paradigm with structural reforms. We must imperatively unlock growth, contain external deficits, boost productivity and investment to create well-paid jobs for our youth and raise standards of living for all. We will not let financial restraints stand in the way of economic growth. We are therefore transitioning to a new economic model driven by research and development and innovation, resource repurposing for higher productivity, transformative investments, upgraded trade strategies, smart investment in productive infrastructure, and focus on consumer well-being. I will start with our actions to unlock innovation. First, it is well known, Madam Speaker, that research today is innovation tomorrow. We are setting up a new National Research and Innovation Institute under the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Science and Research. It will support both public and private sectors while streamlining existing public research institutions for greater effectiveness. Second, I'm providing 200 million rupees to the various ministries to finance research that result in policy innovation. Third, the government will require all parastatal organizations and state-owned enterprises to come up with a research and development innovation plan that conforms with our vision of innovative Mauritius. Fourth, the high-level steering committee on the government program at the Prime Minister's office will monitor progress on the innovative Mauritius mission. Fifth, the Minister of Information, Technology, Communication and Innovation has developed a blueprint for the ICT sector to digitalize the country for operational efficiency and enhanced productivity. Government will ensure that the implementation of this blueprint is carried out as speedily as possible. Six, to foster data-driven innovation, I'm providing extra funding to Statistics Mauritius so that it can build capacity for implementing open data and big data. In addition, we have secured technical assistance from the International Monetary Fund for a report on observance of standards and codes, which is the most comprehensive review and assessment of statistical systems. Our aim is to safeguard governance and integrity of data and establish clear institutional boundaries to prevent undue political and external influence. Seventh, we are allocating some 70 million rupees to set up a Tier 4 government data center for disaster recovery. We are also, Madam Speaker, eighth, amending the Data Protection Act to meet European Union requirements. Ninth, we are aligning the Cyber City and Cybercrime Act with international standards. A cyber security operations center will be set up based on the UK model. 10th, we are strengthening and internationalizing the protection of creators and inventors' legal rights to their ideas. 11th, we are offering a package of incentives that include eligibility to a new premium investment certificate, fast-track permits, and easy access to infrastructure to attract foreign research laboratories to Mauritius. 12th, I'm launching a new fiscal incentive through a new innovative Mauritius scheme to promote R&D and innovation. 13th, I'm providing for an AI innovation startup program to be spearheaded by the Ministry of ITCI. 14th, a dedicated IU unit will be set up at that ministry to accelerate the transition to a digitally advanced economy. 15th, we are fostering an AI-driven culture in Mauritius, with the government leading by equipping all ministries with AI tools to enhance policy making and services. I'm earmarking 25 million rupees in this budget to kickstart a public sector AI program. 16th, startups and MSMEs will be able to claim tax deduction on their investments in AI technologies up to an amount of 150,000 rupees. 17th, we are implementing national AI policy guidelines in schools, launching an AI proficiency program for educators and students, and making AI a mandatory model in all public higher education curricula. Madam Speaker, I will now outline our policies regarding the second key pillar of our economic model, resource repurposing, that is, more productive use of labor, land, and capital. There is substantial scope for improving productivity and achieving higher levels of economic growth. We will start with our policies to improve conditions on the labor market. First, the workers' right, Regulation 2020, will be replaced by the workers' right flexible work arrangement to make the job market more accessible to women. Second, we are also empowering more women to start their own businesses. All DBM loans under Women Entrepreneur Loan Scheme will now carry a grace period of 18 months for repayments instead of 12 months. Additionally, the maximum credit limit on these loans is being raised from 500,000 rupees to 1.2 million rupees. Third, women entrepreneurs will also have access to a wide range of non-financial support, including mentorship programs, marketing assistance, and opportunities to build networks. Fourth, to improve women participation rate, we will encourage both flexible and hybrid employment opportunities. Fifth, we will also promote employment in the gig and digital platform economy. Our sixth measure addresses the acute shortage of labor and skills, which is severely impinging on investment and therefore economic growth. We are expediting the recruitment of foreign labor and skills. This will be done through a fast-track and simplified rule-based work permit system to be managed by the Economic Development Board. Seventh, government will come up with an innovative immigration policy. But let me be clear, Madam Speaker, we are not seeking to supplement workers here, local workers, not to replace local workers. We are doing this additionally. Eighth, government will uphold its commitment to invest in the labor force of the future. We are allocating 550 million rupees for training, reskilling, and upskilling. Ninth, the current diaspora scheme is not performing as per expectations. A new scheme is being put in place to make it less restrictive for diasporas to return, while creating opportunities for them to participate directly in our development. 10th, the Diaspora and Global Advisory Council will be set under the Prime Minister's office, and it will serve as a platform to encourage greater participation from our diaspora and friends of Mauritius from overseas in our development. Our next actions on resource repurposing are aimed at optimizing the productivity of our land. The National Development Strategy for Land Use Planning will be comprehensively reviewed and aligned with our new development priorities. Our 12th measure is to implement the Digital Twin Mauritius project. This will help to optimize land use, reduce environmental impact, and support efficient planning for agriculture, development, and conservation. 13th, the land database at Landscope will be expanded to serve as the digital marketplace for agricultural land in particular to foster greater food security. 14th, public institutions holding significant land assets will join efforts and come up with plans to maximize the use of the land assets. 15th, I'm launching a new land repurposing scheme that will exempt owners of small agricultural plots from land conversion permits, provided the land are being used for alternative strategic investment projects as defined in the scheme. My 16th measure on resource repurposing involves enhancing industrial policy coordination to increase capital productivity. We will establish an industrial policy of coordination committee to oversee the direct and direct the rollout of productivity boosting strategies with the rest of the particular emphasis will be placed on the capital productivity, on raising capital productivity in the manufacturing sector. 17th, I'm providing for expansion certification to boost consumer confidence, both locally and abroad, in Mauritian products. This should increase demand for such products and therefore investment. I now turn to the third pillar of our new economic model, which is about building growth through transformative investment. We are replacing the inherited consumer-driven approach with an investment-led growth model. Government is creating a vast investment space through our 4 new pôles de croissance. First, we are unlocking some 30 billion rupees of investment over the next 3 years in renewable energy, mainly solar energy and biomass projects. Second, we are creating opportunity for massive transformative investment through a new waste-to-wealth investment scheme. This new scheme will promote creative waste to art projects, waste to compost, waste to energy, and reuse of metal scrap, among others. This scheme will also play a significant role in lowering our carbon footprint. Third, a vast investment corridor will be opened in the blue economy. We will engage with stakeholders and experts through an Assise de l'Océan to come up with a new blueprint. Our focus will be on 6 strategic ocean economy sectors, namely sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, ocean-based renewable energy, sustainable ocean tourism, marine transport and trade, research, capacity building and innovation, and finally, blue finance. Fourth, the government is revitalizing the creative arts sector, focusing both on economic progress and social coherence. To this end, I'm providing for the setting up of a National Open Arts Commission to advise on comprehensive policy on arts and culture. At the same time, we will streamline the administrative procedures for the holding of festivals and concerts. We are also introducing art trading as a new export activity, positioning it as an asset class for investment by international ultra-high net worth individuals. The EDB will help to create facilities in the free port for the trading of international artworks. This will also open us significant opportunities for our nation's premier artistic talents. The next leg of our strategy to expand the investment space is to consolidate existing pillars of our economy. Reimagining the future of tourism is a daunting but necessary exercise. The future of tourism will focus on quality, value addition, sustainability, inclusion, and resilience. In partnership with the private sector and other stakeholders, we will work on a blueprint to rethink the future of tourism in the light of both challenges and opportunities. The structural problems must be looked into. Today, the 2 most critical challenges confronting the sector are, again, acute shortage of labor and in the impact on environment. The blueprint will consider the following goals. 1, to focus on quality and value-added tourism so as to increase tourism spending as opposed to relying only on quantity and gross tourism receipts. Second, to improve the branding, marketing, and positioning of Mauritius. Third, to embrace sustainability challenges of the industry, so that to have an environment-friendly tourism growth. Fourth, to accelerate the road of technology. AI and innovation are the game changer in tourism demand and supply. Fifth, to diversify our offers and our geographical footprint and grow off peak seasons for arrivals and address the changes in seasons. To ensure inclusion and growing opportunities for our compatriots, and to address the critical issues of air connectivity and competitiveness, to propose solutions for the acute labor shortages in the industry, to build a strategic partnership with the private sector and ensure better synergies and coordination between the public and private sectors. Madam Speaker, the blueprint should propose development strategies, implementable objectives, key action plans, and specific measures to face the new challenges and emerging opportunities. The strategy must be flexible and adaptable to meet changing circumstances. To facilitate visitors upon arrival at the airport, I am providing for the introduction of e-gates. In a sense, a new tourism strategy that is smarter, resilient, more sustainable, and inclusive. I am allocating a sum of 900 million rupees to the Ministry of Tourism. I will now spell out our actions to embrace innovative agriculture. Government is setting up a food resilience scheme to incentivize controlled environment agriculture. This includes advanced techniques such as vertical farming, indoor climate control agriculture, and modern production of seeds and fertilizers, among others. I'm allocating 800 million rupees to support farmers. Planters, and breeders through various schemes and assistance programs. We will also provide access to artificial intelligence for producers of food, especially the small and medium enterprises, so that they can modernize the operations and produce safe food with a view to improving food sovereignty. Landscope will develop food security projects by leveraging the land assets. In line with our policy of widening opportunities and inclusiveness, we will ensure that sugarcane planters earn a fair income. We are guaranteed revenue for planters producing up to 60 tons of sugar. It will be increased to 35,000 rupees. Government's strategy for the financial services sector focuses mainly on promoting higher valued added offerings and consolidating financial stability. Government will request for the conduct of a financial sector assessment program jointly by the IMF and the World Bank. We are investing in a wide range of skills of development, including advanced AML, CFT training. The Financial Services Commission will deploy a unified e-licensing platform integrated with a centralized KYC repository and known to the Commission features. I will now focus on our policies to stimulate investment in our banking sector. First, the Bank of Mauritius. The Bank of Mauritius is launching bullion banking as a major new activity that will stimulate investment, employment creation, and economic growth. Second, we will review the Bank of Mauritius Act and the Banking Act to further increase its independence. Third, the Bank of Mauritius will implement an effective resolutions regime to ensure orderly resolution of a failed bank. Fourth, a new electronic trade documents bill will give legal recognition to digital bills of exchange and trade instruments, enabling fully digital trade finance and reinforcing our status as a modern regional trade hub. Fifth, we will amend the relevant legislations to allow for documents using secured electronic signatures to be accepted for registration and transcription purposes. This will save a lot of time. 6, we are streamlining licensing for wealth management and family officers to better serve high net worth clients and establish Mauritius as a key gateway for investment into Africa. Madam Speaker, while we work to expand opportunities for investment, we are also enhancing our institutional capacity for promotion and facilitation. We are restructuring the EDB to better support our vision of innovative Mauritius by streamlining processes, boosting transparency and promoting investment in all sectors. It will also lead the government export-driven growth strategy. The EDB will promote innovative Mauritius brand. To boost investment, the EDB is dedicating resources and efforts to improve the ease of doing business. Our restructuring efforts will extend to the Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority. We are, therefore, equipping our embassies to focus on economic and developmental diplomacy, tasking them with creating actionable trade and investment projects by leveraging economic cooperation agreements. We will optimize the benefits of the recently established strategic partnership framework between Mauritius and the UK. We will also enhance our trade and investment relations with the European Union members, while at the same time negotiating a mutually beneficial trade and investment agreement with the United States of America. Special efforts will be paid on maximizing opportunities from the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement with India, the Free Trade Agreement with China, and the African Continental Free Trade Area. Madam Speaker, we are also adopting our African Partnership Strategy to our vision of innovative Mauritius, while honoring our commitment to the African 2063 project of the African Union. I now turn to the 5th pillar of our new economic model, which is about making infrastructure development the gateway to new investment opportunities. Madam Speaker, while we are stressing on fiscal consolidation to restructure our economy, we cannot and will not do so at the expense of economic expansion and job creation. We are therefore investing in physical infrastructure with proven growth linkages, namely for land, sea, and air transport. Such investments will mitigate the contradictory effects of fiscal consolidation. I am providing for the implementation of the motorway M4 project, which will be implemented in 2 phases. Phase 1 will connect Faubac to Pont Blanc, and Phase 2 will extend to the motorway to Bel Air. I'm also providing for the Ring Road Phase 2 project. The new Ring Road Phase 2 project starts around 200 meters before the end of the Ring Road of the Phase 1, crosses Coin Bluff Mountain and Monroe Hill to there will be 2 tunnels, and connect to the end of Boulevard Victoria at Valley-Pigot. Phase 2, the Ring Road Phase 2 project also connects to Trangbor through its graded, separated junction. The Mauritius Ports Authority will invest approximately 5.4 billion rupees to expand the cruise jetty, construct a small jetty for bunker barges, acquisition of tugs, and expansion of the Mauritius container terminal. The Cargo Handling Corporation is undergoing a major overhaul to ensure that Mauritius reclaims its reputation as one of the most efficient ports in the Indian Ocean, a reputation we had, which we lost. Government is deeply committed to resolving the water problem, as we recognize that it is vital to the quality of life. We are therefore making provision for the long, long overdue construction of the Rivière des Anguilles Dam. We are also investing in a wide spectrum of water infrastructure, such as replacement of water pipes, upgrading and rehabilitation of water treatment plants, and new service reservoirs. In all, we are planning for some 128 billion rupees of investment over the next 5 years in infrastructure development, including housing, transport, water, wastewater, solid waste, land drainage, and electricity. The next cornerstone of our new economic model and innovative Mauritius vision focuses on protecting purchasing power of consumers, in particular those at the lower levels, lower income, middle income even. Our legacy from the previous government, this is one of the legacies they left. It's causing social mayhem in our country, in the struggle of many, many families who struggle to make ends meet. We pledge to address this issue as a priority once we are in government. We have redeemed that pledge, bringing down inflation to 2.6% as of April 2025. The Bank of Mauritius has also been able to stabilize the value of the rupee, which reins naturally inflation. Today, we are doing more to combat inflation. To protect the purchasing power of the population, as we promised in our electoral manifesto, we are establishing a price stabilization fund of 10 billion rupees starting with an initial 2 billion rupees contribution in this budget. The State Trading Corporation will invest some 1.5 billion rupees in a modern centralized warehousing facility to foster more competition in the interest of consumers. I am removing VAT on some infant foods, canned vegetables, and frozen packed vegetables. We are enacting legislation to protect consumers from unscrupulous practices, such as reducing the product size while keeping the prices unchanged, or hoarding essential goods during crises to inflate prices. The Competition Commission of Mauritius will be mandated to conduct sector-wide pricing and profitability audits, especially in essential goods, to ensure that retail outlets are not overcharging customers. Government will invest in an integrated price monitoring information system to combat price collusion and provide maximum information to consumers so that they can make the right choices. A high-level steering committee will be set up to accelerate the parallel import framework. This will enable us to lower medicine prices while ensuring quality and effectiveness. Madam Speaker, building a resilient economy is good social policy. And good social policy helps to grow the economy. We are harnessing that powerful synergy as we introduce a new social order to save our country from the path of social decadence blazed by the previous heartless government. As our most precious resource is our human capital, we need to nurture and invest in high-quality education as a priority. We are starting at the top with a renewed social contract for education. Shaping this new social contract requires broad participation and strong stakeholder support. Government will introduce an appropriate blueprint to provide clear directions on this critical national project. In the meantime, to promote inclusiveness, I am making provision in this budget to secure greater support for special education needs students. I am allocating 20 million rupees to consolidate the foundation program. A quality assurance unit will be set up for both pre-primary and primary education sectors. Madam Speaker, we are also establishing a National Education Council and a National Curriculum Advisory Board to advise government on quality improvement for pre-primary, primary, and secondary education. I'm therefore allocating 438 million rupees for infrastructure improvement across the entire range of learning institutions, that is from pre-primary to tertiary. We have a grand vision of making Mauritius a leading regional hub for higher education, research, and innovation, shifting simply from consuming knowledge to generating it. Our aim is to double the number of foreign students in Mauritius within the next 3 years. A hall of residence will be constructed in Agredri to accommodate international and local students. Madam Speaker, we will encourage institutions of higher learning to operate in Mauritius. We will, in collaboration with private stakeholders, develop a marketing strategy on the Study Mauritius brand to make Mauritius an educational hub. I will now announce our policies to fundamentally reform our healthcare system. A new healthcare system in a new social order must move beyond the traditional models. It must be future-ready in the face of new challenges such as the rising burden of non-communicable diseases, an aging population, and increasingly complex health threats, including pandemics and climate change. I'm therefore announcing the following. First, the outdated health legislation, believe it or not, dates back to 1925. It will be reviewed. Secondly, we are creating a new health system that will prioritize prevention through health promotion, healthy lifestyles, and robust NCD management. To this end, I'm providing for an innovative path to remission program for diabetic and pre-diabetic patients. This program will reach some 450,000 of our citizens, and I'm providing 47 million rupees to kickstart that program. We are stressing on a similar proactive approach to dealing with cancer and cardiovascular diseases, with the participation of foreign consultants who are leaders in their field. We have already started organizing international conferences, not only for research, but also for teaching, to promote preventive health care. As from 6th of June 2025, the rates of excise duty on alcoholic and tobacco products will be increased by 10%. I did say it was for health care. The rate of excise duty on the sugar content of sugar-sweetened products will be increased from 6 cents to 12 cents per gram of sugar. I will be moving for a financial resolution to that effect. In addition, Madam Speaker, as from the 1st of October of this year, I'm extending the excise duty on sugar-sweetened products to chocolates and ice cream. We are introducing a new culture of hospital management. We must put the right person in the right place. I'm therefore providing for the recruitment of 5 professional managers with strict key performance indicators to ensure that our hospitals are managed to the highest standards. And qualified emergency physicians, rather than generalist physicians, will now provide the necessary care and treatment in the accident and emergency departments. I'm providing for the setting up of a National Health Quality Commission to secure strong and effective quality control. Government will also set up an office of an ombudsperson for health services which will be empowered to look into any abusive practice in the sector. We've seen a lot recently. Paper health records, long queues, and disconnected healthcare providers must become a thing of the past. To this end, we are applying digital health solutions, including electronic health records, telemedicine, e-prescriptions to improve efficiency and access. We are also providing for the necessary infrastructure, equipment, and staffing to cut waiting time for treatment. We are bringing about a novel strategy for dealing with mosquito-borne disease. Government is investing 24 million rupees in the sterile insect technique production facility. I'm providing for the recruitment of 1,000 student nurses over the next 3 years, that is, 50 trainee midwives, 50 medical and health officers, and 30 specialists, amongst others. Now, in spite of this very tight budgetary situation, I'm doubling the budget for training and capacity building in the healthcare system. That is from 22 million to 44 million. To improve food safety and public health, I'm allocating 20 million rupees for the purchase of rapid testing kits. These will enable instant detection of contaminants, and therefore you get a faster response. In all, I'm allocating 18.5 billion rupees for the healthcare budget. Madam Speaker, I now turn to our policy to shape a new social security approach that is in line with the emerging social order. I'm therefore providing 660 million rupees to support some 7,000 households registered under the Social Register of Mauritius, SRM. I'm also providing 67.5 million rupees for the implementation of ongoing social housing schemes, that is for the SRM beneficiaries. To further enhance social inclusion, 1.1 billion rupees is being provided for social aid beneficiaries. And I'm increasing the monthly household income threshold to benefit from cash grants for the purchase of assistive devices from 35,000 to 40,000 rupees. I'm also extending refund of taxi fares to children and autistic spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder who attend schools. They will have their taxi fares refunded. I'm providing for the training of interpreters in the Mauritian Sign Language. I'm also enhancing financial support to charitable institutions. The daily inmate allowance for residents less than 19 years old will be increased to 500 rupees. 184 million rupees is being earmarked for the implementation of the social security system. And 1.3 billion is being reserved under the National Social Inclusion Foundation to support NGOs. Madam Speaker, I made a special effort to support our elderly by increasing all basic pensions. The whole government increased the all basic pensions by 1,000 effective January 2025, in spite of the situation, because we had promised during the election. We do what we can do. Today I'm making a provision for 68 billion rupees for basic pensions and other allowances. I'm also providing 90 billion rupees for social protection sector for the year 2025-2026, and this accounts to 34.8% of our national budget. 34.8. As we lay the groundwork for a new social order, our housing policy assumes primary importance. Despite the financial constraints inherited from the previous government, we remain fully committed to ensuring that every family has access to decent housing. Government will ensure that contractors, as you know, we had a lot of shortcomings in those buildings, Government will ensure that contractors will correct all the shortcomings and structural issues that have been identified in the 8,000 units under construction. Right now, they will be addressed and then handed over to the applicants. Government is fully conscious that there is a huge backlog of social housing. Even after handing up this 8,000 social housing units, while this tremendous challenge, government will also do its utmost to secure a decent home for every family. To this end, an in-depth study of the housing situation for low and middle-income families will be carried out and will come up with a new housing policy roadmap. In the meantime, Madam Speaker, we are raising the income threshold for social housing eligibility from 40,000 to 48,000 rupees. I'm providing 40 million rupees for a new national syndic scheme to ensure better maintenance of the NHDC estates and timely provision of scavenging services. In connection with the phase 1 of the 8,000 social housing units, 10 priority sites will be included in the National Flood Management Program. Madam Speaker, we are also putting environmental considerations at the heart of our policies for the new social order. Today, as we celebrate World Environment Day, our policy actions reaffirm our commitment to help safeguard the natural world for present and future generations. We have to be bold in tackling environmental issues. In addition to the waste to wealth initiatives and the development of renewable energy industry, I have announced I'm providing 164 million rupees to restore vital habitats, prevent beach erosion. I was amazed when I went to visit the amount of erosion that we're getting. So 164 million to preserve vital habitats, prevent beach erosion, and combat marine pollution. Government is introducing more prohibitive fines on noise and sound pollution, and also introducing a deposit refund scheme for plastic bottles. A climate finance unit will be set up at the Ministry of Finance to better mobilize and manage climate finance for adaptation, for mitigation, and for resilience. Madam Speaker, to unlock the economic and energy value of waste and transition to a greener, more resilient economy, the waste to wealth strategy will focus on transforming waste into energy, fertilizer, materials, and even art supporting the national energy and sustainability strategy through 4 mechanisms. 1, reforming the waste management system. 2nd, building waste transformation, processing capacity. 3rd, enabling circular investment. And 4th, driving cultural and educational transformation. I'm therefore allocating 3.3 billion rupees to the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management, and Climate Change. I expected you would come with Madam Speaker, we have already initiated action to redefine law and order to build a safe and modern society. In the emerging social order, effective law enforcement depends on empathy, technology, and advanced training. I'm therefore allocating 200 million rupees to start the construction of the Mauritius Discipline Forces Academy, which will enable comprehensive capacity building across the Mauritius Police Force. And they will be trained. We are also investing some 2.2 billion rupees in the next fiscal year, to protect our maritime space from illicit activities. I am allocating 19.7 billion rupees for law and order. Since we're speaking of law and order, Madam Speaker, we know the problem of drugs in Mauritius. We all know. To combat drug abuse, our approach is crystal clear and resolute. Both myself, the Deputy Prime Minister, and other ministers have said it. It will be zero tolerance. That is why we have set up the National Agency for Drug Control. And in this budget, an amount of 70 million rupees has been earmarked to support the operational setup of the agency. 70 million rupees. ADSU is being strengthened with more manpower, advanced drug detection technologies, and better inter-agency collaboration. The drug screening facilities at the airport and seaport are being upgraded. They must be upgraded. The construction of the new forensic lab will be completed by the end of this year, and it will be reorganized to be results-oriented. It will also include a dedicated specialized lab for drug detection. 3.5 million rupees is being provided for the implementation of a structured drug rehabilitation and reintegration center at Petit Prison, targeting some 50 detainees in its initial phase. Maybe targeting is the wrong word, but we're talking about 50 detainees. Now, justice. To enhance the capacity of our judiciary and improve the delivery of judgments, I'm providing, first, an e-judiciary system for judges in chamber cases and the Supreme Court registry. Two, a digital court recording and video conferencing system for the Rodriguez Court. Third, a national crime agency will be set up. It will have many sections. They will combat a lot of things, including money laundering, including crimes, all these. Fourth, a national prosecution service. It will be headed by the DPP, just as the DPP is the head of the Crown Prosecution Service in the UK. Fifth, the Constitutional Review Commission will start functioning by the end of this very month. I'm also providing for court infrastructure improvements, for the renovation of the Supreme Court building, the rehabilitation of the timber roof at the Flak District Court, and the enabling on online payment for fines and court fees. Today, Madam Speaker, we also commit ourselves to making Mauritius safer. 205 million rupees will be invested to enhance safety on our roads. The points-based driving license system will become operational in January of 2026. The use of the safe city cameras will be extended to improving traffic operations and detecting road traffic offenses. The legislative framework will be reinforced to offer more protection to two-wheelers and pedestrians. Fines for speeding, but also for the use of mobile phones while driving will be increased to act as an effective deterrent. A road safety fund will be set up in collaboration with insurance companies, vehicle dealers, and vehicle companies to finance road safety initiative and infrastructure. I will now address our strategies for advancing sports development, which form a central pillar of our new social order. Investing in sports, physical and recreational activities is investing in the well-being of our people. To professionalize the sports sector, we are providing for the setting up of 7 sports academies. We are giving ample financial support to our athletes and para-athletes while investing massively to upgrade our sports infrastructure. I'm also providing for a feasibility study on the construction of a rally circuit for our young rally enthusiasts. I thought I said young. I'm allocating 1.1 billion rupees to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Now, the civil service, Madam Speaker, plays a crucial role in the implementation of government policies. It will be equipped to support the building of a solid foundation for our new economy and the new social order, and to effectively serve all citizens. A public sector reform bill will be introduced to strengthen public sector governance, and in the same vein, the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Civil Service College, which was inaugurated just recently during the state visit of Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam, has already started a dedicated program for public administration and management. Reforms and innovation units will be set up in all ministries and departments. I'm allocating an amount of 5.785 billion rupees for Rodrigues. On this sum, 5 billion will be dedicated to recurrent expenditure. The remaining 785 million rupees will be allocated to capital expenditure. These funds will support projects that are vital to Rodrigues development, including the construction of a new runway at Penkoai, they will start it, increasing the national water supply, raising agricultural productivity, and the construction of access roads to Techno Park. This allocation reflects our commitment to both maintaining essential services and investing in the infrastructure necessary for Rodrigues' continued growth and prosperity. I'm also allocating 25 million rupees to implement a master plan for Agarega to drive its sustainable development while raising the standard of living. Madam Speaker, I now turn to the challenging task of fiscal consolidation. The previous government took fiscal irresponsibility to its zenith. They have placed our country in the quicksand of fiscal and financial distress. For the fiscal year 2024-2025, the previous government deliberately inflated revenues, downplayed expenditures, and overstated GDP levels. While we were in opposition, we were saying, we think the figures are manipulated. Nobody thought that they were managing figures to that extent. And this is why we're in this mess that we are. These were done intentionally to create this misleading impression that all is good, all is well. An act that was both reckless and deceitful. Some of those who have actually dilapidated the public finances. Les pyromanes qui se prétendent pompiers. They have the audacity to unashamedly assert that there's ample money in the government coffers. Si seulement le ridicule pouvait tuer. However, all we have uncovered is a mountain of debt and an ocean of liabilities, both direct and contingent. Let us dare, just for, I won't take long of time, just to compare the initial estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025, and the estimated outturn. I think it's good that people are reminded of this. They forecast a budget deficit of 26.8 billion rupees. That was the forecast. This is now estimated at 70 billion rupees. An increase from 3.4% to 9.8% of GDP. They also forecast a public debt of 574 billion rupees. This is now estimated at 642 billion rupees. It is again an increase from 71.9 to 90% of GDP. They deliberately overestimated recurrent revenue. They forecast 207 billion rupees. The estimated outturn is 181 billion rupees. You can see the difference. We need to reverse this trend, Madam Speaker. We must take the bull by the horns right away in this budget. It will clearly take more than one budget to achieve our goal of fiscal consolidation and reconstruction. Our strategy will focus on investment and growth-friendly fiscal consolidation while protecting the vulnerable. We're pacing the reforms with compassion, with empathy, and humanity. By the end of our mandate, we are targeting a real GDP growth between 4 and 5%. A primary budget surplus by the end of our mandate, a lower public sector debt of 75% of GDP with a commitment to reduce it to 60% in the long term. This obligation will be made statutory in a fiscal responsibility legislation. These projections are inclusive of the revenue from the Chagos deal, which will be used for debt repayment for the first 3 years. To achieve these targets, our plan is to adjust both the expenditure side and the revenue side of the budget, while boosting GDP growth through our new economic model. I've already spoken, Madam Speaker, about our plan to boost economic growth. Let me now turn to our strategies and policies on the expenditure side of the budget. Our strategy is clear. Prioritize cuts in inefficiency and wastage. We've seen the audit report. It has unveiled a real Alibaba's cave and amplify our calls for accountability, responsibility, transparency, and efficiency. We've seen what happens every year. The audit report is there, lots and lots of criticism of the previous regime, and then nothing happens. It stays as it is. It continues. We have heard these calls many times, and we are acting on them. Government will ensure that the report of the Director of Audit is debated in the National Assembly. Not only debated, but it will be submitted to the relevant institution for investigation where appropriate. We are embarking on a much-needed public bodies financial sustainability program. Bold decisions including, but not limited to, mergers, disinvestment of non-strategic assets, and rationalization of tariffs will be considered by the parent ministries. To address the issue of inefficiency and generate budgetary savings, we are undertaking a series of reorganization. Madam Speaker, as we reduce inefficiencies, cut waste, and rationalize parastatal bodies, government expects to save 5 billion rupees over the next 3-year period. We have to cut these wastes and inefficiencies. One of the most atrocious decisions of the previous government was the setting up of the MIC under the pretext of supporting businesses in difficulty. It has turned out to be a major, major financial disaster, fraught with fraudulent transactions. Money was dished out and given like this. Yeah, I thought you said cocaine. Yeah, cocaine is cheaper. The Bank of Mauritius is seeing to it that the financials of the MIC are put in order, and they are being investigated, by the way. Government is also ensuring greater transparency in the management of public finances. We are accordingly starting a process to integrate the special funds in the consolidated fund. You know what happened? Special funds, special purpose vehicles, and then the members of the opposition, we were in opposition, asked questions, no answers. This is going to be over. Everything will have to be accounted for. Madam Speaker, we are facing mounting fiscal pressures from the pension system, and we need to address them. It is widely agreed that the CSG introduced by the previous government is a serious threat to overall fiscal sustainability and social fairness. We said so when we were in opposition. Although the stated goal set by the previous minister when he introduced the CSG, he said it was to top up pension of our elderly. The CSG funds have in fact been used for all kinds of expenditure except for what it was intended for. That is, it was never pension for the elderly. It blatantly acknowledged by the previous Minister of Finance himself. He said the CSG funds have been depleted. In fact, it would be more appropriate not to say depleted, but dilapidated. That's what they've done. As a result, it has added some 9 billion rupees to government debt. 9 billion in this fiscal year. And the amount is bound to surge in the future years. It would be irresponsible on my part to leave this issue unresolved. But at the same time, I want to balance fiscal responsibility, as I said, with empathy and compassion. In order to address this burning issue, first of all, we're setting up a commission of experts to make recommendations to reform the various pillars of our pension system, including revamping the National Pension Fund to replace the CSG. I will personally chair a steering committee, to assess and act on the recommendation of that commission. It is now known the former Minister of Finance used the CSG funds to finance various allowances for electoral purposes. That's what he did. Most of which he had already said and decided would end on the 30th of June of this year. Once the election was over, it was going to end. However, out of compassion and empathy, and in spite of the challenges of fiscal consolidation, I'm proceeding as follows. First of all, I'm guaranteeing a monthly income of 20,000 rupees for all full-time employees. Accordingly, I'm maintaining the revenue minimum guarantee allowance to top up the difference between the actual wages and the 20,000 rupees. Second, I'm also maintaining the equal chance allowance of 2,000 rupees per month for households earning less than 20,000 rupees monthly. And also all the beneficiaries of SRM will continue to benefit from the CSG allowances they are currently drawing. But I recognize the difficulties the beneficiary will face if the CSG income allowance, CSG child allowance, CSG school allowance, pregnancy care allowance, maternity allowance, housing load relief scheme, introduced for electoral purposes, if they were to end straight away on the 30th of June 2025, as decided by the previous Minister of Finance. A lot of people didn't realize this. They just thought they were giving things and never realized it was going to end, by his own words. But instead of the abrupt cut planned by the previous Minister of Finance, I will phase out gradually the allowances until 2027. They will be phased out. To further cushion the impact of the removal of the allowances, I'm guaranteeing a monthly income of 20,000 rupees for all full-time employees, as I said. Accordingly, the revenue minimum guarantee allowance, which is ending on the 30th of June of this year, will be renewed. We will ensure that beneficiaries of the CSG allowances earning less than 20,000 rupees monthly will be covered by another scheme under Social Security, and they will not be worse off. Now, it is widely recognized, Madam Speaker, that the basic retirement pension in its current form, which represents 26% of the recurrent budget, is clearly unsustainable. The elderly population, as we know, is growing more rapidly than the working population. This stands as a serious threat to the sustainability of the BOP. This is why it is a call for urgent action. And so we are rationalizing the BOP, because it is unsustainable. The age of eligibility for the BRP is being increased to 65 years. Out of compassion, however, we are phasing out again that increase over a period of 5 years. It is a very difficult decision, but we believe that we have consciously made the right choice. In our decision, we have not prioritized political gain, but we have chosen to do what is best for future generations and this country. Let me reassure the beneficiaries of basic widow's pension and basic invalid pension that they will continue to receive the pensions until they reach the BRP eligibility age. In other words, for the moment, they will continue getting until they reach the age of what we have provided for, 65. The second leg of our efforts on fiscal consolidation is the restructure of our revenue system. Our new tax policies are not only about fiscal consolidation, but also about long-term growth and stability, about long-term economic resilience and social coherence. The growth in the number of cars is outpacing our ability to expand our road network, and it's causing severe road congestion with all consequential effects. How many people are losing hours on the road instead of being in the office? Moreover, this surge in the import of cars is a drain of our foreign currency and trade balance. You know, this year we're expecting it to be, the drain, to be 20 billion rupees this year. 20 billion. And to address these critical issues, effective from the 6th of June 2025, the excise duty on hybrid and electric vehicles is being reintroduced. And the rate of excise duty in customs and conventional vehicles are being increased between 45 to 100%. Again, as I said, it's not a dramatic increase. There's going to be some time, because we don't want to be unfair to people as well, but it will have to be increased. On ne le fait pas de gaieté de cœur, but it's an obligation that we have to do. I will be moving for a financial resolution to that effect. Effective 1st of July 2025, the following measures will come into force. First of all, an increase of 30% in the registration duty payable on first registration of vehicles in Mauritius. However, we are abolishing registration duty, as we said, on the sale and transfer of domestic pre-owned vehicles. In other words, second-hand. Thirdly, an increase in the quantum of the road motor vehicle license in the range of 200 to 4,000 rupees, depending on the type of vehicle. Now let me turn to other tax measures. VAT. Businesses will henceforth be compulsorily required to register for VAT purposes upon making a turnover exceeding 3 million rupees. It used to be 6 million rupees. Specified digital or electronic services provided by foreign suppliers will be subject to VAT from the 1st of January of 2026. Now, with tourist fee of €3 per tourist per night will be introduced in the designated tourist accommodated establishment. It's very high in other countries. Just compare with Maldives or even other countries. Regarding personal income tax, we are reducing, as I said, the tax bands from 11 to 3. Up to the 500,000 rupees of annual chargeable income, the tax zero will be 0. 500,000 rupees is 0. The next 500,000 rupees of annual chargeable income will be taxed at 10%. The remaining annual chargeable income will be taxed at the rate of 20%. The personal income tax relief and deductions are being rationalized. And now turn to our policies to reform the corporate income tax regime. First of all, I'm introducing an alternative minimum tax on certain profitable sectors in order to ensure fairness and equity given their low effective tax rate. Second, a qualified domestic minimum top-up tax will be imposed on a resident parent or subsidiary of a large multinational enterprise to raise their effective tax rate to 15%. Appropriate measures will be introduced to retain the competitiveness of Mauritius' international financial services sector. Madam Speaker, as we pursue our policy of land resource repurposing to promote strategic food security and ensure a level playing field, we are reviewing the Smart City Scheme. The fiscal incentives granted to smart city promoters are therefore being discontinued. There will be a transitional period, as usual, to cater for components of small city projects where construction has already started. Otherwise, it will have to be discontinued. The registration duty payable by non-citizens on the acquisition of a residential property under the EDB scheme or an apartment will be increased from 5% to 10%. Land transfer tax at the rate of 10% instead of 5% will be charged to the seller of the residential property or development. Madam Speaker, we speak of fair share contribution. A high-income earner earning annual net income exceeding 12 billion rupees, inclusive of dividend income, will be required to pay a fair share contribution at the rate of 15% of his chargeable income, after adding, therefore, any dividend income received during the year from domestic companies. We had to do this, Madam Speaker, if we want to collect money. Otherwise, there are ways of finding ways and means to not to pay the tax, legal ways. The contribution will be collected under the pay-as-you-earn system on income received by an individual as from the 1st of July 2025, and it will be applicable for 3 consecutive income years, that is up to June 2028. It's not going on forever. It's for 3 years. The choices we make today about our public finances will determine the future of our nation. We are therefore appealing to the spirit of solidarity among the more fortunate, urging them to support the most vulnerable and disadvantaged members of our society. And to achieve this, the government will be implementing a fair share contribution for both corporations and individuals over the next, as I said, the next 3 financial years. A contribution of 10% will be introduced on chargeable income for individuals earning annual net income exceeding 12 million up to 24 million rupees. And for those earning annual net income above 24 million, the rate of contribution will be 20%. A contribution of up to 5% of chargeable income is being imposed on domestic enterprises having annual chargeable income above 24 million rupees. Regarding banks, there will be an additional contribution of 2.5% on chargeable income on their domestic operations. Madam Speaker, as I said earlier, these fair share contributions are essential if we want to have this social cohesion and also to prevent a downgrading of a sovereign rating, which will be catastrophic to our economy. Everybody will suffer if this happens. It will ensure, as I say, social coherence, social economic resilience, and they will be applicable for 3 financial years only. I'm hoping by then, I'm sure, the economy would have got out of the mess we were left in. Madam Speaker, I now turn to our measures to simplify tax administration while improving the much-needed revenue collection for fiscal consolidation. The MRA will operate 2 new schemes, namely the Tax Dispute Settlement Scheme and the Voluntary Disclosure Settlement Scheme for 1 year only. The aim is to facilitate settlement of tax disputes and encourage voluntary disclosure of underdeclared or undeclared income. We have seen what happens. People appeal, it goes on for years and years and years, and government gets nothing out of it. The MRA will prepare a comprehensive document on the modalities of the 2 schemes. Furthermore, the Tax Arrears Settlement Scheme is being renewed for 1 year. Madam Speaker, the powers of the MRA to raise assessment in respect of past years We know how it was. It will now be restricted to 2 years, as we said during our campaign. Unless there are very exceptional circumstances, but generally be restricted only to 2 years now. Madam Speaker, in this budget, we're doing more than just fiscal consolidation. We are strengthening overall our public finances. We are therefore carrying out a systematic review and re-engineering our portfolio of parastatal bodies. We are developing a national asset liability management framework as proposed in the government program, it's there, for a more coherent approach to managing the nation's financial and physical wealth. Government will store the groundwork to set up a future fund to which receipt from the Chagos deal will be transferred as from year 4. The aim of the future fund is to create wealth for future generations. Now, we have seen what has happened in the past. As the responsible government, we will safeguard the future fund against misuse, having learned from past incidents of fund misappropriation and abuse. To ensure that the funds are used for developmental purposes, we are identifying 5 main uses. 1, food security, to lower dependence on imports and support domestic production. 2, clean energy, climate change adaptation, and mitigation to lower imports of fossil fuel and CO2 emission, while enhancing resilience to unpredictable climate events and boosting economic growth. 3, the blue economy, to harness the resources in the sea in a responsible and sustained manner and to reverse the declining trend of manufacturing. 4, speeding up the adoption of AI, blockchain technology, and innovation. And 5th, equity funds for our young people and women to become entrepreneurs. This is what the part of that fund will be used for. I'm allocating a seed capital of 3 billion rupees in each financial year, 2026, 27, 27, 28. And as from the financial 28-29, the totality of the annual rental and development fund will be allocated then to the 5, what we just mentioned, the 5 activities. Madam Speaker, as we achieve our recovery goals, which I expect to be around 3 years, I pledge that everyone will share in the benefits, including a lighter tax policy. This is our aim. We are having to act now because it was not possible not to do so, but it is going to be limited. We're hoping to reverse all this, to reverse some of the policies. Let me reiterate that unless we take decisive action now to address the damaging legacy left by the previous government, there will be no hope for a brighter future for our youth and for Mauritius. We are confident that our efforts are setting the country on the right course towards full recovery and then shared prosperity. Before I conclude, Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize that advancing our economy and society from crisis to care, from disaster to recovery, we are balancing responsibility with empathy and compassion. We have made a deliberate and conscious policy in spite of urgent need to consolidate our finances. We could have done. The easier way out would have been to increase VAT. But we haven't done so. We have decided not to increase the rate of VAT. Instead, we are removing VAT on a number of food products, giving priority to the well-being of consumers. This will help to bring down the cost of living. In spite of the pressing need for fiscal consolidation, we are first raising the tax exemption mentioned, the threshold by 110,000 rupees, that is by 28%. Second, we are removing 44,000 individuals from the tax net completely. They're not going to pay an income tax. Third, some 75,000 individuals earning between 500,000 rupees and 1 million in a year will actually be paying less tax. And as the result of the measures I've introduced, 81% of employees in our country will not pay any income tax. Fourth, I'm making special efforts to increase support to fishers. We are providing free first aid kit to all fishers. Secondly, navigational aids, mooring aids, and solar lights are at all jetties throughout the island. Thirdly, for the construction of 3 more fish sheds. Fifth, we are also increasing the retirement benefit for fishers. When they return their licenses, this is the benefit. We're increasing it from 135,000 to 200,000 for artisanal fishers age 65. From 125,000 to 200,000 for net fishers, and from 250,000 to 300,000 for cooperatives. Six, as I said, the sugarcane crop of 2025, planters producing up to 60 tons will obtain a guaranteed revenue of 30,000 rupees per ton, including bagasse and molasses. Seventh, as I said, I'm just saying it again, I promise in our electoral manifesto, we are providing for the establishment of 10 billion rupees price stabilization fund with an initial contribution of 2 billion to lower the cost of living. Eighth, another electoral promise that we are honoring is the abolition of the registration duty applicable on the sale and transfer of pre-owned capitals. I'm just enumerating what we have promised because sometimes people say, oh, we haven't seen this, we haven't seen that. Ninth, I'm providing for 67.5 million for implementing ongoing social projects for the SRM beneficiaries. And we are, as I said, providing free connection, internet connection to families under the SRM. Seventh, I'm increasing the daily capitation grant for elderly residents of a charitable institution. It was 295 rupees. It is now going to be 500 rupees. 12th, I'm providing 2.4 billion rupees for drain infrastructure projects across the island. 13th, I'm providing 3.1 billion rupees for the water sector with a strong determination to ensure that every family has uninterrupted access to tap water. 14th, patients who are beneficiaries of basic pensions will continue to receive the pensions when they go abroad for treatment. Very often the pensions are cut. Now they will continue to receive the pensions when staying abroad for treatment for a period exceeding 6 months, provided it is recommended by a medical board. Madam Speaker, let me now conclude. As we had pledged all along our campaign, this government's role is to take the country out of this mess and build that bridge to the future. This is the first budget of this government. It lays down the foundation for building this bridge. A bridge wrecked over the last 10 years that has led to this country staring right into the abyss. That is what they have done. A new bridge built together with the people of this country on solid foundation, with solid railings to protect the more vulnerable, with a solid platform to withstand the storm, and with a clear pathway to a brighter future for the common good of this and future generations. That is what we are trying to do. And we are doing. In this journey, the population put their trust in us. And we shall honor that trust to get all of us out and to go in the right direction. To face an unprecedented challenge, we needed a bold response. I don't have a magic wand. I said that many times, even during the campaign. I don't have a magic wand, but I've done my very best in a context where I had to meet very difficult, competing objectives. And I must say, the whole cabinet, including the DPI and everybody, has had, because we know what is the actual situation. We have fiscally consolidated by bringing down the budget deficit, the borrowing requirements, and the debt as a percentage of GDP. The doctors among us will know. The budget deficit is like high blood pressure. It is symptomless, but it is there, and it's going to kill you. Second, we have protected both the vulnerable group, the lower middle income group, and the middle income group by maintaining social allowances and lowering the taxes. Third, we have introduced measures to support investment and growth. We need investment and growth, not just taking these bold measures, but need that also. Fourth, we have embraced measures to deal with climate transition and the adoption of artificial intelligence and disruptive technologies. Fifth, we have introduced measures to support food security and the blue economy. Sixth, we have adopted policies to support young people, women through an equity fund. Inspired by what Mauritius can become, rather than being locked in the past, Budget 2025-2026 dares to challenge vested interests, disrupt the status quo, take bold decisions, and chart a new development path. We are leading the way out of this mess, not by doing what is easy or popular, but what is right for this country. That's what we are doing. This budget lays a strong foundation for innovative Mauritius, powered by AI and the latest technologies. It unfolds unprecedented opportunities for private investment and high-paying jobs for our youth by fostering 4 new, what I said, pôles de croissance. It rids our country of an economic model that has long outlived its essence and replaces it with a dynamic and forward-looking economic model. It reforms the pillars of our society to create a new social order for greater social justice and social coherence. This budget boldly reforms our public finances to reclaim its soundness and resilience. I hope people realize when we came to power, we knew they were manipulating figures and all this. But aujourd'hui, nous sommes devant un paysage en ruine. L'État a fait naufrage. But we are boldly laying down the foundation for economic recovery. It is the budget that conveys a powerful message of hope and confidence that this government will tackle the problems that we have head-on. It should never have happened, but it has happened. A brighter future awaits us, but we must share the burden now so that we can share the proceeds of growth. Let us therefore be united and let us commit to build the bridge to the future as one people, as one nation. I must say before I end, Madam Speaker, this has been a teamwork. Let me thank first of all the Deputy Prime Minister, my colleague ministers, the Junior Minister for Finance, the Acting FS, the Chief Economic Advisor, the staff of my office, the Prime Minister's office, the Ministry of Finance, their staff, and other ministries, and all stakeholders who have participated, given their opinions. They didn't realize the extent of the damage these people have done. Let me end by quoting former Secretary General of the United Nations, Dag Hammarskjöld, who died in a plane accident. This is what he said: "I don't promise to take you to heaven, but I shall certainly prevent you from going to hell." Thank you.
Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Prime Minister, you must commend the bill to the House.
I commend the bill to the House.
It must be seconded by the Deputy Prime Minister. Do you have a motion to make?
Yeah. Madam Speaker, I beg under Standing Order 17, subsection 3, to take the time of the House for urgent business.
Motion seconded. Yes. Okay. The question is that the Honourable Prime Minister be allowed, under Standing Order 17.3, to take the time of the House for urgent business. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. And Honourable Prime Minister, the floor is yours again.
Madam Speaker, having obtained your permission, I now present the first financial resolution. Madam Speaker, I move that this Assembly resolves, with effect from the 6th of June 2025, that excise duty shall, in respect of all of the excisable goods falling under the respective HS codes as specified in Part A of the schedule, to this resolution be levied, subject to the transitional provision referred to in Part B of the schedule at the corresponding rate specified in column 5 of Part A of the schedule.
Yes, the question is that Standing Order 29.1 be suspended so that the Honourable Prime Minister be allowed to present 2 financial resolutions without notice. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Okay, financial resolutions are being circulated to members. Honourable Prime Minister, we are distributing both resolutions. You are distributing both resolutions to members. We wait for them to finish so that the members can take notice of these resolutions. Okay. I believe members have got both resolutions now. Okay. Okay, the question is that this Assembly resolves, with effect from 6th June 2025, that excise duty shall, in respect of the excisable goods falling under their respective HS codes, as specified in Part A of the schedule to the resolution, be levied, that is the first resolution, subject to the transitional provision referred to in Part B of the schedule, at the corresponding rate specified in column 5 of Part A of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The same question for the second. Prime Minister. Okay, Prime Minister. Sorry. You now have to move for the second financial resolution.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I move that this Assembly resolve with effect from 6th of June 2025 that value-added tax shall, in respect of the goods specified in the schedule to this resolution, be levied at the rate of 0%.
Thank you. Deputy Prime Minister seconds the motion. The question is that this Assembly resolves with effect from 6 June 2025 that value-added tax shall, in respect of the goods specified in the schedule to this resolution, be levied at the rate of 0%. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable Prime Minister, adjournment.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I beg to move for the adjournment of the House to Tuesday, the 17th of June at 11:30.
Okay. The question is, members, may I have your attention, please, members? The question is that the House be adjourned to Tuesday, the 17th of June at 11:30 a.m. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The House stands adjourned.